I've got another DCU update for you guys today. And yes, people were walking out of the theater. People were walking out of the theater. That's going to be my last story. I've got a few other things I want to talk about before I talk about that big story. First of all, I wanted to thank everybody for watching. If you haven't already, please like the video, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and you will be notified as I have new videos go up. All right, so yesterday I teased a little bit about what today's video is going to be about. First of all, the first official picture from the production of Joker 2 has been released with both Lady Gaga and we have Joaquin Phoenix back as the Joker. Now, in that picture, she looks a little crazy herself, so it looks like they may be changing up the history of Harley Quinn for the movie. We'll find that out shortly when the movie does get released sometime next year. There are some most of the stuff I'm going to talk about today you could put in the rumor category until we get official confirmation. Now, before I talk about the few other things I want to talk about, I also want to address my video yesterday. There are people demanding I show my sources. Did I not share Twitter yesterday and show you that the quote came directly from James Gunn himself? It was James Gunn. He was the source. And in fact, he has gone silent since he did this post yesterday. I think the studio is going to probably rein in on him and keep him off of social media for a while. That is the dumbest stunt I have ever seen a CEO do at a company like this. That had to be the most moronic thing, because there are only two possible options about what happened when this all went down. Number one, James Gunn knew nothing about it, and he was just commissioned to write a Superman movie. He was not commissioned, he was hired. Not commissioned, he was actually hired. Those are his words. Which means he is the direct one to fire Henry Cavill and not bring him back. The other option is that the studio knew this all along and didn't tell James Gunn and totally played everybody. It's one of the two. There's no middle ground. And for the people saying that it was The Rock coming in and actually, making these, he's the one that caused all this to happen, that is not true. He was championing to bring Henry Cavill back, and he's the one that actually made it happen. But he's being made out to be the fall guy because Warner Brothers Discovery actually shared Henry Cavill's post. DC Comics liked it. There was definitely something happening behind the scenes, as some people have pointed out. He did have an oral contract, and in this country, an oral contract is as good as a verbal contract is as good as a written contract. It's just a fact. So no matter how you look at it, he had a contract to come back as Superman, but got stabbed in the back. So either the studio did everybody dirty, or James Gunn just doesn't like Henry Cavill, lied the whole time, and didn't want him back as Superman. None of it makes any sense, but that was discussed on the video yesterday. So moving on to the other news for today's video, there's a report out there that Robert Pattinson is going to appear in the Penguin show, which is a good thing, because I was wondering how they were going to be able to do a Penguin show without actually having Robert Pattinson in there, especially if it's coming off of the events of the Batman film. They're going to have him in there. I don't think they'll have him in there a lot, but he'll have to be a part of it if it's going to be the rise of Penguin. Now, we also have some reports out there, and these are some wild reports, and this is definitely in the rumor category, but we all know that they have retooled The Flash at the end. They have taken out Sasha Calle. They've taken out Michael Keaton. They will not be a part of the DCU. They're going to stay in their own pocket of the universe, and James Gunn has pretty much confirmed that Sasha Calle will not be back to play Supergirl in his Supergirl film that will be coming out in probably 4 or 5 years. So she's a one and done, which is a shame, because she had the same suit as Henry Cavill. There was definitely a connection there, but they decided to go in a completely different direction. This is all a cluster, you know what. But I digress. So there are rumors that in the Flash film at the end that Ezra Miller is going to be replaced by none other than Grant Gustin, which I think is a terrible idea, unless he's a different version of the Flash than the one we saw in the show. The show is definitely on a cheaper budget. The acting is cheaper. Not to say Grant Gustin doesn't do a great job, but they're really going to have to up his acting ability and make him look a lot more mature and more, definitely more, more big budget if they're going to go that route. I'd be okay with that as long as they change his character. But I don't know for a fact that that's what's happening, but there are some reports out there that that is what they have done with the end of the Flash film. So that leads us to this big story of what happened today. There are reports out there, and I think it's Viewer Anon on Twitter that came out and said that there were some screenings of Aquaman 2 recently. Now, this is the second set of screenings. They did have a set of screenings a while back, and those were very positive. Like everything they did, there was a positive reaction to it. And you have to understand that the first Aquaman movie was the only DC film to break $1 billion. Like, it made a ton of money. And I really enjoyed the first Aquaman film. I thought the scale of it was phenomenal. They did a great job at the end. I loved the whole battle at the end, and I was hoping that the sequel would be good and they might bring the trench into it. There was a great storyline in the New 52, I believe, and I read that Aquaman run, and it was phenomenal. And it would have been great to see something like that. But I think they've kind of they've changed everything. They went in a completely different direction. The first time that this film was screened, it got very high marks. Well, they obviously had to change it to fit Gunn's universe. And apparently people were walking out of the screenings, that they thought it was utter trash. Now, I do know that Jason Momoa came out and said that the theme of the film is definitely a political message about global warming. And I'm going to tell you right now, as a comic book fan and as just a fan of movies in general, I'm not going to the movies to be preached to. I'm going to the movies to have fun and watch movies about these characters. They don't need to bring in real-world issues into this. It doesn't serve the story, I think, in any capacity. There are plenty of Aquaman stories you could tell that don't have to do with global warming. So I don't know if that's a part of it or if it's something else. But we will find out shortly, because there's a good chance they may just cancel that movie entirely. And the reports are also saying that they definitely took Ben Affleck, that there's no Batman in the movie at all. And obviously that could easily be the case. They shot several different Batmans. They shot the same scene with both Ben Affleck and Michael Keaton. But we know Michael Keaton's not staying in this universe, so he's gone. That only left Ben Affleck, and now they're talking about completely erasing Ben Affleck as well, and he won't be a part moving forward either. There are definitely some conflicting reports out there of what they're doing with the casting and these different films. And we're going to find out everything this year by the end of the year, no matter what. I'm still going to be bringing you guys the news of things that are being talked about all over the internet. But things are just crazy out there. Stuff is getting slung out left and right, and I'll be bringing all of it. And I'm not going to respond to the people who demand stuff from me, all right? I'm bringing you the news from all over the internet. And I have to reiterate, I am not a scooper. I don't have anybody bringing me any information from behind the scenes. I do get some direct messages from people that I do check out the information. Like, I was very happy with the information I got yesterday, because I would have found out about that, but not as quickly as I did through the direct messaging. It's just crazy what's going on with Warner Brothers right now and with James Gunn, and I just don't see a bright future. But maybe they'll surprise us, but I'm not counting on it. I think anything short of a full reboot at this stage is going to be an utter and complete disaster. So I'll still be covering all this stuff going forward. We'll see you guys on the next video.